Hello and welcome Spring 2020 Internet Math students. My name is Robert D. Giovanni. I'm the instructor for Cal 1, Cal 2, and Cal 3 online. And this orientation video is just to help you get acquainted with how the course is going to work, what the expectations of the class are, and mainly how to get started. So let me start by just kind of giving you a brief layout of the way the course is going to work. You will be watching videos that I've created on YouTube. Those videos will contain lectures of the course material. After you watch the video, then you'll be going to a homework management system called WebAssign, and you will be doing your homework there. You'll also be taking a few tests online, and then you'll also have to come on campus to take two exams, Exam 2 and Exam 4, and I'll get into those details. But just as far as the general expectations, even though this is an online course, I will be expecting that you watch videos which are equivalent to, if not more than, the amount of time that you'd be spending in a normal class. So on average, you're going to be watching probably close to 4 hours of videos per week to actually learn the material. And then on top of that, you'll be going to do your homework, which will add a few more hours. And then if you have trouble with your homework, I have additional videos to supplement. So, my expectation is that you can dedicate anywhere between, 6 to 10 hours a week on this class. I understand that a lot of you work full-time, have a lot of different responsibilities, but this is still a college-level calculus course, and the expectation is that you have time for it. So one of the mistakes students make is they try and say, well, I'm just going to do my entire week's worth of work in one day. And that might work for a history class or something like that. But for calculus, you've got to have time to absorb the material. And really one day is just not enough. So you need to be able to work on this material throughout the week. And even though your due dates will be, there's like one due date per week, even though that due date is set, that doesn't mean you start doing everything the day it's due or the day before. I expect you to be working throughout the week. So let's get started. Let me just show you where to go to get into the course and get through some of the administrative stuff first, and then I'll show you how you're going to go do your homework. Okay, so I'm assuming you can get into the Northwest Vista's main webpage. Go here, log into ACES. Again, I'm going to assume you can get into ACES. And let me see here. You'll click on your courses and make sure you're looking at the correct term, and then you'll have your courses listed here. So like I said, this video is actually to serve my Cal 1, 2, and 3 courses that I'm teaching online. So let me go ahead and I'm just going to jump into my Cal 1 course. All of your courses will look the same. There's slight differences, but I'll kind of point those out as we go. First thing I want to do is talk about the inbox and the way we communicate. So on the left-hand side in Canvas here, you'll have your inbox, and this is the acceptable way to communicate with me. Don't be sending me emails or anything else through Yahoo or Gmail or anything like that. Everything has to be done officially here. So if you want to compose an email right here, I'm sure you can figure this out, figure out what course you're sending it to, and then send it to me. I'll be listed there under the instructor, and then you send it. You can do attachments and actual video if you need to. So that's the way we will communicate. And then if I send you something, it should appear over here on the left-hand side. Excuse me. So that is our inbox. That's the way we communicate. Now let me get to the actual course. And let's go into that the Calculus 1. And I'm going to switch over to a student view so it looks a little bit more like what you'll see. Okay, so this is pretty much what you'll see when you go in here. On the left-hand side, we have the main tabs. We have your grades where you'll go to see how you're doing in the class. And let me just say a little something about that. Your grades are actually, everything you're going to do for grades is going to be through this thing called WebAssign. I will transfer those grades over to Canvas 4 times throughout the semester, after Exam 1, after Exam 2, and then after Exam 3, and then, of course, after the final, I'll bring all the grades over. So as you're working, through the semester. If you want to look at your grades, you're going to actually look at them in WebAssign, and then after the exams, you'll see them over here. The course syllabus is here. I'm going to go through that. All the files that I'm providing to you are here. Discussion board, so if you want to talk with any of your classmates, you can go to the discussion board. Feel free to exchange ideas, maybe set up study groups, whatever you'd like. Anything that you do on the discussion board, I look at that, you know, at the end of the semester, not as, I guess we could call it a bonus, but really it's kind of like, you know, maybe you're like half a point away from the next letter grade, and you really need something to kind of boost you. I'll go back and look at the discussion board and I'll see, like, were you participating? You know, it's not required, but, you know, if you were actively participating on the discussion board, I'll take that into account. People, this is a way you can contact your classmates. And then at the end of the semester, there's a student survey, so that's where that is. Okay, so right now we're on the home page. The first thing you see up here is that there's a deadline, and your first deadline is actually 3 o'clock Wednesday, the 22nd of January. And that is, what that deadline is, you have to go into WebAssign, which again, I'll show you how to do. You have to get enrolled and registered and all that stuff. You have to pay, and once you do all that, then once you're enrolled in the WebAssign website, then you've accomplished this task. Okay, so that's all that is. You've got a few days to do that. And I said pay. You actually don't have to pay right away, but I'll get to that when I get to WebAssign. Other than that, the administrative stuff I've got here, the orientation video, that's what you're watching right there, right now. I'll put a link to it right there once I finish this. Your schedule, this is a very important document. So again, remember I'm looking at the Cal 1 class here. So this will be different for Cal 2 and Cal 3. The schedule, I'm going to go ahead and open this up right now. I recommend you just go print this out, stick it in your binder, which you'll have to keep a binder for the class. I'll again talk about that later. So this schedule just tells you kind of like the entire layout of the entire semester, when the exams occur, what's due, when it's due. So if you look at this, you'll see that a lot of things are grouped together. Like these two first assignments are due on the 23rd. That's the confirmation, that's getting enrolled. And then you have another group that's due here on the 26th, and then so on and so forth. You can see when your exams are, and it says here this is an at-home exam, so you'll do that on your computer at home. Then you have your on-campus exam, and then you have, oh, I didn't put on campus here, but this exam 4 is also on campus. So that kind of gives you a layout of what we're going to be doing. And so when it says here section 1.1, that means chapter 1, section 1 out of the book. This is chapter 1, section 2, chapter 1, section 3, and so on and so forth. So print that out, have that always available to you. So I'll just minimize this. And then you have formula sheets. So you will, again, come on campus for 2 exams. So the formula sheets are what you are allowed to bring to those exams. And you are not allowed to modify them or do anything. You know, add your own formulas to them. You can't bring your favorite formula sheet from pre-cal class or something. Everybody has to have the same formula sheets. You click on that link and that'll allow you to go download those sheets. Course videos. So this is really important. Like I said, you're going to go watch videos to learn the material. And this is where things get a little bit different. For Cal 1, I have two types of videos for you to learn from. The first one is a course video. And I'm going to just click on that. And it's going to take you to my YouTube channel. And you'll be looking at my playlist. These videos are, I'm not going to play them, but these videos go through each section, and it's just basically me giving you the theory, definitions, the basic idea of, you know, the major ideas of the section. Those are the course videos. And then you have what are called the class lecture videos. That's a different playlist, and that's where I actually recorded myself during a lecture where I go and actually work out problems. So you'll see me working problems out that are with, you know, problems from the textbook that are within the section, so examples. And so that's for Cal 1. They have the course videos, and then they have the class videos. For Cal 2 and Cal 3, it's a little bit different because, let me show you in the Cal, you know what? Yeah, let me show you, but I have to leave the student view here. So for the Cal 2 and 3, let me bring up Cal 2 here. So you'll see once I bring this up, it's going to look a lot like the other one did just a second ago. So pretty much the same stuff. But notice I have here, instead of course videos and class videos, I have just class videos. So right here, if you click on this, it's going to bring up, again, this is me. I did some videos of myself during a semester where I was teaching Cal 2. And then these are the videos of me covering the different topics for each day. And so this is what the Cal 2 and 3 students are going to do. They're going to just watch a video basically of me giving a lecture to a class. And that's how you learn the material. Now, let me just say, anything that I say to the students in these videos, I'm actually talking to the students in that class, so that doesn't really apply to you in terms of like, hey, here's a quiz, or do this problem at home, bring it next time. You don't need to do that. On the other hand, if I do tell my students to do something or give them a bonus problem or something like that, and you actually want to do it, you can, and then you can email it to me as an attachment, with an attachment of the assignment, and I will count that as extra credit. So, for example, if I give my students a take-home quiz and I show them what it is, and you can tell what the problems are, then you can do that quiz and turn it in for bonus points. If I give them a bonus problem, same thing. So that is kind of the main difference here. Let me go back again. I want to go back to the Cal 1 class. That when it comes to learning, Cal 1 has 2 videos, which are the course videos and class videos. And then the Cal 2 and Cal 3 just have the class videos. Now, the Cal 2 and 3 don't feel like you're being shortchanged, because in the Cal 2 and 3, I have notes that I follow. And so, you're still going to be getting the theory and the definitions and the theorems and stuff like that, but it's just a different way I did it when I did the Cal 1. So, all right, so moving through this also, somewhere here you should have a link to homework solutions. So the homework problems that I give you, that you do on WebAssign, I have homework solution videos that aren't exactly the same problems, but they'll be similar enough that if you're stuck on a problem in your WebAssign, you should be able to go to the homework problems and you should be able to find a problem within that section that you're covering that's similar to what you're doing. So like, here I have homework for the different sections. So again, you're working in WebAssign, you're trying to do the homework problem, you're having trouble with it, you can come over here, watch the video on it, and it should be able to help you. I'd say I have 90% of the problems that you do in WebAssign, I have an example of it being done by me. So, a video homework solution, or a homework solution video. Okay, and I'm just trying to cover here what's on this main page. I have a little video here showing what a good binder is. I haven't talked about the binder, but if you want to know what a good binder looks like, here's a little video you can watch. And then it's also going to take place where you're going to want to request partial credit, because the computer's not very forgiving about answers. So I have a little video here of how to request partial credit. And then I have a bunch of links you'll see on your homepage, links to older videos, because my YouTube channel, I've got almost 2,000 videos on that channel. I pretty much record all my lectures, so you can always go find something, in addition to what you're supposed to watch. There's always other things you can watch. So, okay, this is the main page. Let's get to the syllabus so that we can get that out of the way. All right, so here's your syllabus. Most importantly, we actually do meet face-to-face twice. So even though this is an online course, there's still the expectation that you're going to come on campus and you're going to take 2 exams. You're going to sit at a computer and take the exam just like you would at home, but of course you won't be sitting there with all the other resources. You can't be surfing the web. You have to just take the test like you would if you were sitting in class. The 2 dates for those are set. They're established right now, Friday 3/27/20, and then Friday 5/15/20, both at 9 a.m. So you'll show up at 9 a.m. We probably won't get started on the test till about 10, because I have to get everyone situated, and then that'll be a 3-hour test. So I would anticipate being there from like 9 to 1 or maybe 9 to 2. So plan accordingly. I'm giving you, pretty good heads up here, like almost 2 months of prior notice. So if you have a job or something like that, see if you can take off that day. You know, things will come up, you know, emergencies and things like that. But, you know, other than emergencies, I expect you to be here for these 2 days. You know, if there's something that you know you can't be here, or you live out of town or something like that, we can set up a proctor. But it's very important that you read this, okay? Because I have requirements if you're going to want to take the test off campus. I'll let you read that, but make sure you pay attention. You've got to give me a 14-day notice and follow the instructions here, and then we will go through the process, and I will let you know whether or not I'm going to allow that. And if you ask to do proctoring, I'm going to be asking for evidence as to why you can't be on campus like everyone else. I'll also say that if you can't be on campus, you might lose out on some opportunities that if you're taking it off campus you won't get. So like I might, like in the past for exam 4, for the students that come on campus, I actually allow them to use their binder on the final exam for the first like 10 minutes of the test. So basically they can look at the test, they can see what kind of problems are in there, they can look in their binder, which has all their work in it, and then kind of get an idea of how they're going to attack the test. After 10 minutes, they have to put the binder away. That's something I do for the students that are on campus, but if you're doing it with a proctor, I'm not going to do that. That's something that I'm not going to try and coordinate with the proctor on that side. So there's advantages to being here on those 2 days. So do your best to work your life around those 2 days and times, and then you shouldn't have any problems. If for any reason you miss the exams on campus, you get a 0, and that's going to devastate your grade. Actually, if you miss either one of those, you'll fail the class. You'll see when I show you how the course grade is determined. Okay, so I introduced myself earlier. Here's my contact information. Ignore this email address because I already told you we're going to be communicating through Canvas. But in case Canvas just crashes out or something, there's an email address. And then I also provide you my cell phone. Now, this might seem a little odd, but I'm still giving my students my cell phone number. I've been doing this for many years. And this is probably the best way to get help in the class. So let's say you're working on a problem, you just can't figure it out. You've watched my homework solution videos, you've gone online, you've tried to find some other answers or help for it, you're just stuck, right? Then I just ask that you text me, make sure you put your name, make sure you put what class you're in, take a pic. Now this is important, okay? Because when you text me, I might be sitting in front of my desk, or I might be at the grocery store. So when you send that text, send a picture of the problem that you're trying to do. Okay, I need to see the problem, and then a separate picture of all of the work that you've tried to do to work that problem out. So the more information I have, the better. And then what I'll do is I'll use my phone. I have one of the phones that has a pen on it. So I can write on your work or circle things, or I can just write the solution myself and send it back to you. So this is really a nice way to communicate math. And I'm available to you 24 hours a day. So don't feel like you're ever going to bother me. At night, I just silence my phone. So if you try and reach me at 2 a.m., probably not going to answer you, but don't hesitate to do so. There's something near. All right. So I'm also available during my office hours if you're on campus or just want to come by and sit down and meet with me. We can go over problems. We can talk about other things, your major, whatever it is. I'm available Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. all 4 days. And then on Fridays, you can set up an appointment with me. Now, I told you you're going to be going to WebAssign, and you're going to be, you know what? I'm going to go get a drink here. Let me see if I can pause this real quick. Forgot what the pause button is. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. Where was I? Okay, so getting on to materials for the course. Like I said, you're going to need to go to a separate website called WebAssign, and there's going to be an access code or an access key that you're going to need, and here it is. Now, this is for the Cal 1 class. For Cal 2 and Cal 3, you're going to have a different access key. But what you'll do is you'll go to WebAssign and you will enroll. Let me show you how to do that. All right. I'm just going to go to WebAssign, Google it, right, and then go ahead and click here. And then right up here on the top, you'll put enter class key, and then you put in that access key that was on the syllabus. Remember, it's different for each course. Okay, so let me see what it is here. For Cal 1, it is 0663 0663 4674 4674. Okay, so go ahead and click on that, and it'll show you, Math 2413 section 23. That's Cal 1. Robert DiGiovanni, that's me, Northwest Vista College. So yes, this is my class. And then you go ahead and go through the rest of the enrollment process. I'm not going to go through this because I've probably used up every email address I have to show this as an example, but I think it's 2020, most people can figure this out. Just make sure that when you enroll, that you use the same name that's in my roster, so don't use nicknames. And if you already have an account, you can just reuse your old account. I mean, you don't have to create a new account. You can just go in with your old account. Now, once you get in, you will be prompted to purchase access to the website. So basically, at the website, you'll find all your homework. You'll find the EBook, the electronic version of the textbook, which we don't necessarily need, but it's there if you want to read it. And then, like I said, that's where we do our homework. So in the class, even though you have to purchase the access, that's kind of like that's the cost of the textbook, so to speak. Unfortunately, it's become more and more expensive over time. There was back in the day, in the early days of internet classes, the access to the online was like 20 bucks. Now it's up over 100, and that's just crazy, but that's what it is because everything's kind of shifted to this now. So get enrolled and then purchase access to the class. Now, when you're going to purchase access to the class, there's an option in there, so you have to look for it, where it will say whether or not you want to do like a trial period. And so I recommend doing that. I forget, I think it gives you like 14 days to pay. So what you can do is just use the website, go do homework and everything that you would normally do without paying. And then after 14 days, you need to pay. So if you decide after a week or two, you're like, what, this online format just really isn't for me, you can at least bail out and not have lost that money. And then there's different types of accounts or different types of access that you can purchase. And again, I'm not quite familiar with, because they change them almost every semester. You can get like a 1 semester access, it's probably the cheapest, and you can get like a full year and I think a lifetime or something like that. And they cost a different amount. So here's the way I'd look at that. If you're in Cal 1 and you want to take Cal 2 and possibly Cal 3 all online at Northwest Vista, then I would go with, you might need more than a year for that one. You might want to go with the unlimited one. That would serve, so you would only have to purchase it one time and it would serve for all 3 courses. So that would be a bargain at that price point. If you're in Cal 3 and this is the first time you're doing this, then I would just get the 1 semester access. This is a one-time thing. After Cal 3, we don't use this book anymore, so you would have to purchase something else if you went on to like linear algebra or something different. So it really kind of depends on where you are. Like if you're in Cal 2, you have to kind of make that decision. Do you need Cal 3? Do you not? So you determine that, but just remember you've got the temporary access, gives you some time to figure out what you want to do. All right, so once you go through that enrollment process, you will have satisfied that initial requirement of being enrolled in WebAssign. All right, so that's like that first thing you have to do. Now, just so you know, like I said, the course, Cal 1 and 2 are all based off of this textbook, which again, you do not need to purchase, but some people like to have the textbook. And so, if you want to go get a copy, you can probably find one pretty cheap somewhere. There's all the information for it. Now, the other thing you need in this course is a binder. I recommend a pretty thick 3-ring binder, maybe a 3-inch 3-ring binder. And in that, you must have all the work that you do online, all your homework that you do. I'm not expecting to just have you sit there and point and click. I expect mathematics to be put down on paper, nice and neat. So you need to put all your homework, all your handwritten exams, all your notes while you're watching my videos. You should be taking notes like you would in class. Put all that in this binder and keep it nice and organized. And that must be turned in at the end of the semester. Okay, so if you do not turn this in at the end of the semester, then everything you've done online, I will turn to zeros. And so you may walk into the final, you have hundreds on everything you've done at home, but you don't have a binder that shows your handwritten work that supports those grades, then everything's a 0, which means you'll fail. So this is a requirement. Don't forget about it. I've had students show up to the final and be like, what are you talking about? And I show them this, they're like, oh, I forgot. Sorry, I mean, I can't do anything about that. All right, so you also, of course, can have a calculator for the class. On the exams you do on campus, you can't use your phone, so you have to have a calculator, but I do have a little stipulation here. You cannot use a computer algebra system calculator. So that's like a TI-89, TI Inspire, CAS, any calculator that does what's called algebraic manipulations. So it can factor, it can do derivatives and antiderivatives symbolically. Those calculators are not allowed. So if you have any question on whether or not the calculator you want to use at exam 2 and 4 are allowed, I would contact me first. And don't go, you know, if you're going to have to go buy a calculator, if you're in the market for one, just get in touch with me, because you know I recommend like the TI-84, TI-86. Those are good calculators. A lot of people use those. So, but you need a calculator for this class. All right. Now, as far as the class description, that's going to be different for Cal 1, 2, and 3. So I'll let you read through that. The objectives are going to be different. The outcomes are going to be different, but you can all read. So I think the grade is probably the next thing that you're most interested in. So the way I'm going to break down the grade, of course, it's a standard grading scale here. Now there's some gray area there. All right, like what's an 89.4, right? Well, this is anything between 80 and 89, right? So 89.4 is not there. And this is between 90 and 100, and 89.4 is not there either. So where's 89.4? Well, I'm going to use the standard you know, rounding method. I'm going to look at the tenths place of the percentage. So 89.4, I would only round that up to a 90 if it was an 89.5. All right. So I know students really, I mean, I've had students tell me that an 89.4 is a 90, that I need to round it up. I'm just going to use what everyone else does. And, you know, that's where we talk about bonus points, you know, like discussion board. Did you use a discussion board? Do you have a good binder? Like, is it neat and orderly? And, you know, did you take some time to put that together? Were you watching the videos and doing the bonus questions that I was giving in those videos? You know, all those things will come into play if we're talking about tenths of a percentage, right? What I will not do is round an 87 up to a 90, or an 88 up to a 90, or an 89.0 up to a 90, because it's just problematic. You know, if I round an 88 up to a 90, then anyone who is at an 86 now becomes an 88, because it has to be for everyone, like a 2-point curve for everyone. So the 86s become 88s, and now they're saying an 88 should be a 90. So it's just, look, you're going to get the grade you earn in the class. I'm going to round to the nearest tenth, right? I'm going to round in the 10th position up to the nearest integer grade. And hopefully we won't be sitting here fighting about, you know, tenths of a point. You will have, you know, done bonus and stuff like that, which takes you past that threshold. But we'll get to that when we get to it. All right, now, in terms of how that percentage is determined, well, the binder, which you have to keep, is just a free 5 points in the class, 5% of your grade. Just keep a good binder. All the homework you do online, everything you do online for homework is just 10% of the grade. So Students historically get hundreds on most of their homework assignments because you can redo the problems until you get it right. And then, of course, I know that there's all sorts of resources out there where you can just find the answers. Like, you don't have to learn anything in this class. You just go to a website, you say, hey, WebAssign, calculus, homework, solutions. I'm sure you can find all the answers. So most students get hundreds on their homework. I'm not saying they do that, but I'm just saying those grades are always very good. And even at the at-home exams, these students do really well on these, really, really well. And that's probably a combination of the fact that you're at home and you're relaxed and you're not stressed out, and you're sitting there, you've got your TV on in the other, on the background, and you can go drink your coffee or beer or wine or whatever it is you're doing. And there's just kind of like it's not really like a stressful testing environment. You've got all your materials sitting out there, so I don't know what you're looking at during those tests. So most students do real well on the homework at home and the exams at home. It's the on-campus exams that cause the major problems. And so these two exams are worth the most, and that's because we have to maintain the integrity of what we're doing here, right? I mean, it would, we have to verify that the person that's taking the class is, number one, doing the work and learning it, and that they are doing it in a fair and honest way. So those two on-campus exams, we know it's you taking the test, and we know that you're using nothing but the reference sheets, cheat sheets or formula sheets that you're allowed to use, and that's it. You understand the material, you know it. So those exams are 32.5% each. So you have to, if you look at it this way, you have to get at least a 50 on this test and at least a 50 on this test to have any hope of passing the class. Now, I'm not trying to say just come in and get 50, but historically, students just don't do well in those exams. So I'll talk about that a little bit more here. When you come to the exam, what to expect, I'll let you kind of read through that, like what you should expect to bring, how long it'll take you, things like that. But really, this is the most important thing, how to succeed on exams 2 and 4. So, like I said, students at home, you're not stressed out. You need to practice for exams 2 and 4. Like, you need to sit there, turn off the TVs, put your phone away, and start a clock and go back and just try and redo some of your homework problems. And when you do that, see how you do. If you find yourself having to look through your binder or go on to YouTube and look up something, then you're not ready. You want to get to a point where you can just go to a random homework problem from a homework assignment and recognize what to do and execute the problem. So just practice, practice, practice. If you don't actually prepare yourself for that testing environment, you're going to come in and you're not going to do well in that exam. And then you're going to tell me, oh, well, I know it. I just, test anxiety and things like that. And yeah, I believe there is test anxiety, but there's also something called being prepared. And being prepared for a test is part of doing well on a test. So, get with me if you're really concerned about how these two tests are going to go. Get with me beforehand. We'll sit down, come to my office. We'll, throw some problems at you if you want, and get some idea of where you are. All right, requesting extensions again. You can, life sometimes gets in the way, and you'll fall behind, and you'll miss a deadline. If it's a homework problem or a homework set that you've missed, then you can request it online through WebAssign, and automatically the system will give you an extension, but then they'll penalize you 10%. So that's for homework. You can always get an extension. Now, for tests 1 and test 3 that you do on at home, you can request an extension, but you have to call me or text me or email me. And then, of course, for exams 2 and 4 that you come on campus for, there are no extensions. Like, you have to take them on the day that they're scheduled. Okay, with that said, there is an attendance policy, even though you're at home doing this class. You can request extensions, but if you miss more than 3 deadlines, then I can consider dropping you from the class. That'll be like a lack of participation on your part. So, miss 1 deadline, okay, miss 2, after the 3rd one, after the 3rd one, it's where I start to wonder whether or not you can, your life is allowing you to do this. The rest of this I'll let you read. Tutoring and where you can find things, references. Where you can find tutoring. This other statement I have to have in here, and then here's the schedule, which it has to be in the syllabus. But the other one that we printed out or brought up earlier, this one, that's really the schedule we need to be going off of. Okay, so there's our syllabus. Let me go back to the home page. Okay, so let's get to WebAssign. Let me get in there and kind of show you how things work. So I'm going to log into WebAssign. Give me a minute. Go check on something real quick. Okay, had to go check on something. Doing a Windows 10 upgrade on my wife's PC, and I got the black screen of death, and had to reboot, and it looks like everything's okay, so got to get that finished before she gets home. Okay, so WebAssign. You go ahead and you've already logged in or registered here, so we're going to go ahead and log in. Now, we're going in as me, so it's going to look different than you, but I'll be able to give you kind of the gist of it here. So let me go to, I'm going to go student view, and let me go to the Cal 2 class. Yeah, that's what I thought would happen. Yep. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. There we go. So the problem with this right now, showing you this, is that the class hasn't started yet, so nothing is going to appear here, and that's kind of not good because your assignments here, there's nothing here, right? So this is where your assignments would appear, and you click on them for the different homework assignments. And then, I will say that communication, okay, see this communication thing here? I'm going to ask that you only use that if you're requesting partial credit. Otherwise, if you want to communicate with me, you go through Canvas, or you call me, or you text me. All right, those are the ways to communicate. This is only if you want to request partial credit for something. So the computer counted something wrong, but you just forgot a decimal point or something like that. You can use that communication. Just watch the video I showed you earlier on how to request partial credit. Other than that, I don't want you to use that communication because I don't get those emails and stuff. I don't get them. I have to come look for them, which is a little bit more tedious for me. You can check on your grades here. You can look at a calendar which lays out all your due dates and stuff. Let's see if that calendar looks good here right now. Today it doesn't show anything. Yeah, see, because the class hasn't started, so it's yeah, this isn't very useful. But there's one thing I can show you here, and that's the ebook. And the ebook is actually pretty important, and I'll show you why here in a second. So the ebook here, okay, you go ahead and click on that. So as you're going through the sections, right, like as you're looking at your calendar and you're looking at what section you want to do, if you want, you can open up the ebook. And so let's just say, oh, what is that? I don't want that. Get out of there. Let's say, this is Cal 2, so let's say we're doing integrals. And boys, mighty slow. And then here are the different sections. So let's say we're doing 5.2. So, here's essentially the textbook in an electronic form. Let me see if I can't get to the last page of this. You can't actually print things off here. What I'm trying to get are the problems at the end. So let's see here. Now remember, you're doing all your homework through WebAssign, but there should be a problem set here at the end of this section. Well, you know what? Maybe I can do this. Oh, here we go. I thought I saw it. Oh, wow. There we go, exercises. I accidentally jumped to 5.3, but here are the exercises. So here's where you can jump from problem to problem. So when you look here, you'll have your problems, and the thing that's good about this, so pay close attention to what I'm about to say. For Cal 2 and 3, I mentioned that I had homework solution videos. So let me show you how this works with homework solution videos. I need to get to my channel real quick. So if you're in my Cal 2 or 3, you want to look at the homework solution videos for Cal 2 here. Okay, so let me just bring all that up now. Let me go back to the class. What I need to do is I need to bring up an assignment so you can see what I'm talking about here. So I'm going to close the student view. Close this out. I didn't want to close that, but I'm going to have to. Oh my goodness. Okay, so for Cal 2, when you actually get to an assignment, like let me get to 5.5 substitution rule, and then I'm going to view that assignment. Okay, so here's the assignment. And so you can see here there's what, 19 questions here, right? And you will be going in here and putting your answers in here. There's little buttons here. If you click read it, it'll take you to the textbook. Watch it. Not all of these have watch it's, but there is some of them do, and if you click on that, it's going to give you a video. That video is done by the publisher. It doesn't have anything to do with me. So they're going to show you how to do the problem. Just be aware that the way they do it and the way I do it might be a little different. So you can talk to a tutor. There's tutoring available through WebAssign. But, oh, and then also this little palette over here to put in your answers pops up. But the thing I want to point out is that this problem is at a 5.5, right? And if you look right here, this is the thing that's the critical point. It says 5.5.001. What that means is that this problem should be very similar to problem number 1 out of 5.5 exercises. This one is like number 2, this one's like number 3, but notice this one here is like number 5. So let's look at this one. This one right here, that problem right there, should look like number 5 out of the homework set. Okay, keep that in mind. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to go to 5 in the textbook. And I need to go to 5.5 exercises. Come on. There we go, 5.5 exercises. So let's bring that up. Yeah, here it is, number 5. Up, here it is, number 5, right? Out of the textbook, number 5 out of the section 5.5 looks very similar to the problem, which I've lost here, to the problem you're supposed to do. Right? This one right here, number 4, looks like number 5 from the textbook. Now, why is that important? That's important because I said I had homework solution videos, right? So I'm going to bring up those solution videos. I'm going to go to 5.5 solution videos. And this is me.
Numbers 1 through 36.
And I'm telling the class here, I'm going to work through problems numbers 1 through 36. These are problems out of the textbook. So when you're in the class, you're trying to do that WebAssign problem. In WebAssign is problem number 4, but we just saw it's problem number 5 out of the textbook, and that's what I'm doing right here. So what I want to do is kind of forward this up until I get to 5. So right now I'm at number 4. Oh, there it is, number 5. Yep, there it is. So that's me working a problem very similar to the problem that you're doing in homework. So there's a way you can cross-reference, you know, from your homework problems, right? What's here? That's the way you can reference my homework solution videos. So number 7 corresponds with number 5 out of this set. I hope that makes sense. Now for Cal 1, it's a little different because the Cal 1 videos match up exactly. So when you go look at the Cal 1 students, when you look at your homework solution videos, they match exactly with these problems. So it's a little easier. It's just for the Cal 2 and 3, you got to do a little cross-referencing there. Okay, So where am I? Going back to this here. What I might be able to do, go back to student view. There's not a whole lot more I can do here at this point. Yeah, so your assignments will show up here. Let me go to an older class. How about that? Let me go to an older class so you can kind of see some of the things you can do. Get past classes. Let's go to Cal 2. I'm sorry that I'm having you sit here through all this, but let's see if I can go to student view here. Don't know what's going to happen here. It's not letting me. Okay, I can fix it. I can fix it. Give me a second. Class settings. Bear with me. Okay, so now let me try and get in here. See if I can view it as a student now. It's not letting me. What the heck? All right. Well, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this. I'm just going to have to speak through it, I guess. This is always a problem I have with this darn WebAssign. I try and do this video before everything opens. So when you're in this screen and you have your assignments right here as they show up, after the due date has come and gone, you can still click on those assignments and you can retry them. It will have no impact on your grade, but you can go back and practice them. So just be aware of that, as you get ready for exams, that you can go back and redo your homework and not impact your grade. That's a good way to practice and get yourself ready for the test. Also, as you go through your when you click on your assignments, if you need an extension, you're going to have to wait till after it's due. So you won't have the option to request an extension until after it goes past due. So if you know, like, okay, it's due in an hour and I'm not going to finish it, just let the time expire and then request that extension afterward. Well, you know what? I think that's it for this. I said, remember that you can keep track of your grades here in WebAssign. Just click on grades, and that's where you can see how you've done on each of your assignments. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else here. I'm back in Canvas right now. All right. Course videos, binder, partial credit. These are just other videos if you want to watch them. Let's look at the files just to see what's in here. Again, this will be different for each class, but in my videos, I usually follow some, like when you're looking at my lecture videos, I'm following some notes. Those notes are right here. You can click on that and you can actually, if you want, print out those notes and follow along. Now, in your binder, I say you're supposed to have handwritten notes. That does not mean my notes printed out, okay? I expect to see your handwritten notes, not what I've already done, just printed. So, but just know it's there. And then there will be a folder that'll tell you what you can bring to exams 2 and 4. So for this class, this college algebra, this is it. Click on that. I think it's a couple of pages, print it out, bring it with you. For Cal 2 and 3, there's a lot more formulas and stuff that you can bring. So yeah, that's it. That's the files. Okay, so I don't really think that there's anything else at this point. Oh, there is. Yes. Let me go back. You have on your calendar for all the classes, your first homework assignment is due on the 23rd. Okay, and that is Wednesday, right? No, Thursday. Okay, so in WebAssign, there are two assignments you have to do by Thursday. That's your first deadline. So I want to show you what those are because they're the same for all of you. Okay, so the first one is a homework syllabus confirmation. All that is a one-question homework assignment that says that I understand the requirements of the class. Okay? And you're going to click yes, and then if you click no, that means that I might just drop you from the class, because that means you don't agree to what we have set up here. So you have to have that one finished. Very easy. And then there's this getting started with WebAssign. And all that is a homework assignment that actually takes you through, oh, I clicked the wrong button, that takes you through and teaches you, if you've never used WebAssign, it teaches you how to use different, the different like palettes, and how to put in answers. And one thing I will point out, okay, and this happens every semester, if the computer is asking for an answer, all right, and say the answer turns out to be pi, then if it says, you know, what's the answer, and the answer is pi, then you would use the symbol pi to put in pi. You would not put in 3.14. Now, if the question says, what's the answer rounded to the nearest hundredth, then you would put in 3.14. You have to pay attention to that. That's in the wording of the problem. That happens so many times. Students are like, hey, it's counting it wrong. And I'm like, well, what did you put in? They said, I put in the answer, 3.14. I said, no, but it's not asking you to round it. It wants pi, right? So pay attention to that. This little homework assignment kind of gets you a little bit familiar with the way things work. But there's a learning curve to this. And the computer's going to count things wrong that are right. And I don't want you to freak out about that and be discouraged. As long as you're writing down your math on your paper, then that's the most important thing. All right. I think I'm ready to recap and kind of wrap this whole thing up. Just remember the main kind of flow of things. So you're going to look at your schedule, and you'll figure out what section you need to cover. You're going to watch the lecture video for that section. If you're in my Cal 1, then there's 2 videos you can watch. And then you're going to go to WebAssign, and you're going to attempt the homework assignments. If you need help, you're going to watch the solution videos for help. And then, of course, at that point, you can still text me, call me. You're just going to keep doing this until you get to a test, then you take the test, then you move on to the next section. Come on campus, take a test, and then you continue. Always with the knowledge that you can reach out and get help. Now, last thing I'm going to say goes back to exams 2 and 4. I can't stress enough how important those exams are and how historically students have not done well. The main thing for exam 2 and 4 is you're going to do it on the computer. Whatever grade you get when you walk out of the classroom that day, you're going to know what it is right then. That grade absolutely means nothing at that point. I'm going to be looking solely at your handwritten work that you turn into me from those exams. And I'm going to grade those as if you were a student in one of my face-to-face classes. And your final grade for that, for exams 2 and 4, will be based on the work in front of me. So that can be good and bad. I know for like Cal 2, there's probably 5 questions on the final that are just yes or no, like true or false kind of. And students will get them all right, but then they don't have any work to support those answers. So then I go back and you get them all wrong. So if you're not showing your work, then even though you get it right on the computer, that doesn't mean I'm going to give you credit for it. Now, on the other hand, maybe you go through all this work and everything is great, but you made a little mistake in there, and then of course the answer is wrong, so the computer counted it wrong. Well, I'm going to look at that work and be like, you know what, you deserve partial credit for this. So instead of you know, taking off the whole thing, maybe I just take off half, or maybe I just take off, you know, 1/10 of a point or something like that. But you will get partial credit. So it's kind of, you know, it works both ways. You get partial credit, but if you don't have work, you don't get any credit. And that's very important because, you know, WebAssign, it's still a computer, right? These assignments, it's still a computer, and there's ways to kind of find patterns in the answers, and like where you just be like, oh, look at this, I've done this problem before, so I know the answer is this, I'm just going to change that number. You can like learn pattern recognition without, again, doing any work at all. And that might work at home, but when you come for those on-campus exams, your work is the most important thing. So with that said, I think I've given you enough to at least get you started. If you have any questions over anything, you have my cell phone number, you have my email, you can email me through Canvas, and we can sit down and meet if you need to. But don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm hoping that this works out for you in terms of the layout of the course. I think I've provided enough resources for you to learn the material, and I hope you'll agree with that. But you have to have the ability, the time, and the discipline on your end to actually utilize those tools. One other big mistake students make is they say, well, I didn't have time to watch your videos. I just went to Khan Academy and just watched a few things. I have historically not had students that have done that have not historically had good success with this. You need to get kind of the full experience of the course, and the only way to do that is to watch my lecture videos. So again, I look forward to seeing you all at exam 2. Reach out to me if you need anything, and for now, have a good one.